I'm Julie Barkey with Senate Update. A group of Republican lawmakers rolled out a series of legislative proposals they say are intended to keep Minnesota's veterans in the state. Senator Paul Gazelka led Tuesday's news conference by outlining his proposal.
Well, good morning and thank you for coming. My hope is that Senator Carla Nelson will be here shortly as well, but we want to value and honor your time as well. Today we're talking about a number of bills that salute our veterans, and these are important, but I want to highlight too that just a couple of weeks ago Senator Senjum came and presented a bill related to exempting Social Security, and the idea behind that was that we would maintain and keep senior citizens in Minnesota. This has a similar vein, and that is that this first bill that I'm going to talk about, Senate File 40, exempts military pensions in Minnesota. This particular bill is one of three that we're going to talk about today. It has bipartisan support. It's already been through part of the committee process. Representative Josh Heinzman is here as well, and he's carried it in the House. It's already made it through part of that process. But this is an important piece of legislation. 15 states already exempt military pensions in their state, 15. Some of those are because they don't have any income tax, but others in that group, like Wisconsin and Iowa, have decided that they are going to exempt military pensions. 18 other states have significant benefits for military related to their pensions, but don't go quite that far. Minnesota is on neither one of those lists. When military veterans decide they're going to retire, they get a list of places that they can go that are veteran friendly. And guess what? Minnesota is not on that list. Minnesota is on one of the bottom categories. They're rated number 46 on some. So what do we want to do by doing this? It is a veterans friendly bill. It rewards our veterans, but it's more than that. It's economically good for Minnesota. Military pensions, unlike other pensions, are federal dollars. Those federal dollars come in the form of the pension, in their health care, in their education benefits for themselves and their family. All of those are federal dollars that come into the state of Minnesota and are spent in Minnesota. A common misconception is that a military retiree is in their 60s or 70s, when in fact many of them are in their 40s. And so when they come to Minnesota, it's not just to retire, it's to start another career. Often they're entrepreneurial, where they're creating new jobs for other people as well. And so it brings a great economic benefit to Minnesota. The initial cost is $23 million. $23 million. And you know that we do dynamic scoring where we don't measure the benefits. But I want to say, when those more veterans start retiring to Minnesota, the fact is they're going to be paying more property taxes, more sales tax. They're going to pay income tax on their new careers. And so, in my opinion, it will more than offset as we begin to measure that. I mentioned that Wisconsin exempts military pensions. They started that in 2001. And since that time, the difference between Minnesota and Wisconsin, the dollars that come in federally, has increased fivefold to Wisconsin. And so we know that we are losing veterans, and we want veterans to know that they are welcome here, that we want them here, and this is one of the things that we can do. Finally, I'll say that with the baby boom generation retiring, we know that there's going to be a shortage of workers aged 25 to 64. This is one of the ways that we can recruit more people to Minnesota that are the job creators. This is a golden opportunity. Right now, this is a golden opportunity. If you look at over the years, we've often had budget shortfalls, we've had deficits in our cash flow accounts. Right now they're filled to the brim. Right now there's no shifts to pay back, and we have $1 billion of surplus. So why would we not invest $23 million in our veterans and invite them to Minnesota? Thank you. Next we have Senator Carla Nelson.
Thank you, Paul. Well, good morning. It's always a great day when we can salute and honor the men and women who have put on their uniforms, put their lives on hold, and oftentimes on the line for us. And that's what we're doing today, saluting our veterans. I'm going to talk to you about a bill that I've sponsored in the Senate, Senate File 199, which is to help get more returning veterans into our job market. You will recall, it wasn't too long ago, just probably less than 2 years ago, where we saw those screaming headlines that were telling us that 11% of vets were unemployed. And that is not acceptable. We have come a long way since then, and we're very glad about that. But let me tell you about the statistics that are troubling me and why this bill is so important. While Minnesota's unemployment rate is about 5.3, actually, I need to get those numbers now. I forgot them. Let's see. What I want to tell you is that the Minnesota unemployment rate has come down significantly. However, the veterans rate, while it has come down somewhat, it is significantly higher than our state's unemployment rate. And I do have those numbers for you that I'll be glad to get, but it's not quite, it's over 50% higher. So our unemployment rate among veterans is still too high, and this bill is aimed to help close that gap and get more of our veterans employed. Our veterans are highly skilled. We've invested a lot of time in our men and women who have served us so well. They're highly skilled, and they also have the temperament and the characteristics that job providers and employers look for. So this bill, Senate File 199, actually provides a job credit for veterans. And it depends on the veteran, determines what type of job credit there is to the employer. There are job credits, about $3,000 maximum cap for the veterans who are unemployed. There are job credits for disabled veterans. And then there's a special category for 9/11 veterans, and I want to really focus on that category. Senator Uyghur has a bill very similar to mine. And we testified together in the tax committee. It was warmly received. The only difference in my bill is that it really targets, there's a special category for 9/11 veterans. And so what I'd like to do today is tell you why that's so important. Our 9/11 vets have come home, many of them at the height of the Great Recession. We also know that as these would be post 9/11 vets, and we also know that as the feds start drawing down, we're going to have more and more of these post 9/11 vets coming to Minnesota, and it's essential that we take their skills and get them in the workforce. This is a small step to do that. You know, when a veteran fights for his or her country, he or she should not have to come home and fight for a job. And so that's one of the things that we're trying to do with this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Glad to be with you today, and certainly on a subject of saluting service. I'm the daughter of a World War II Navy vet, a wife of Vietnam veteran, a sister to Vietnam, Kosovo, Iraq. With 14 brothers and sisters, we span the whole large gamut of service. So it's my privilege today and my honor to talk about my particular bill, because when you come home and you are a veteran and you complete service, you, the active duty military are, excuse me, I need water. I'll let somebody else go.
I'll step right in. I'm Representative Bob Detmer. I'm the chair of the Veterans Division in the House. And I just came in late because I was at the Tax Committee at a hearing on House File 137, which I would like to talk about today. First of all, what are other states doing? I don't know if that was mentioned before I came up here, but House Research put together a document for me that just shows what other states are doing in terms of retirement pay for our veterans. And of the 50 states and the District of Columbia, 9 do not have general income tax. Okay, they just don't have income tax. Of the remaining 42 states, 35 states exempt at least a portion of the military retirement income, and 3 provide credits for retirement income. And 2 of the 3 states that provide the credits are also allow limited exemption. This leaves 6 states that do not exempt any portion of the military retirement pay. 6 states. And I hate to say that Minnesota is part of that. Minnesota is one of the 6 states that do not exempt the retirement pay for our people serving in the military. Now, 15 states fully exclude military retirement income from taxable income. 15, fully. 11 states exclude a fixed amount of military retirement pay. And my House File 137 was started at that level with a fixed amount that will exempt from retirement pay from taxation. 9 states, including Minnesota, includes some pension income, including military retirement income subject to income and or age limitations. Now that is a $750 credit that lower income retired military personnel can get when they do their taxes. But that is phased out after your income is over $30,000 or more, and when you reach $37,500, it is eliminated. So there's a very small number of retired veterans in Minnesota that even qualify for that. But I'm sure some of the speakers here talked about the benefits of having military people come to Minnesota or stay in Minnesota of retirement. Number one, they bring all this is federal money that's coming into the state of Minnesota. And whether it's their TRICARE, their health care, their educational benefits, their Montgomery GI benefits, now their spouse and their children can use it for college. This is all federal money coming into the state. They're going to buy homes here. They're going to get other jobs. You hear on the news of General Nash, the Adjutant General, talks about hiring a veteran. They have skill sets that was mentioned that after 20 years, they have some skill sets in all the branches, whether it's Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, skill sets that can be transferred into jobs here in Minnesota. We passed legislation, I think last session, regarding military police. Now you can come into Minnesota if you've spent 4 years as a military police officer and now take the test exam, and you can be hired by counties or municipalities for law enforcement. Maybe we should do the same thing for EMTs, firefighters, and so forth. There's a lot of skill sets that these men and women have learned over 20 years. House File 137 treats all the ranks the same, whether you're a high-ranking officer or you're enlisted or a non-commissioned officer. What it does, when you sit down with your tax person to do your taxes, you can subtract $30,000 right off the top when you do your taxes. And that, I was talking to the tax chair today in my hearing. I said, we have to take a look at the budget of the state and see where this can fit in. We can always lower the amount, but we need to start something here in Minnesota for our veterans. It was interesting, back a few months ago, I was at the groundbreaking ceremony for the bridge over in Stillwater. And I came up to Governor Walker, and I just started chatting about veterans issues. That's what being the chair of the committee and being a veteran myself, and I have twin sons that are serving in the military after graduating from West Point. What's Wisconsin doing? Well, they don't tax the military retirement pay. And then he, kind of tongue-in-cheek, Governor Walker said, well, someday I'd like to get rid of income tax in Wisconsin. And I kind of looked at him and I smiled, and then I looked where the bridge is going to be going in, and I said, that bridge is going to be awful busy going from west to east. And we need to do something now for our veterans and men and women that have served. Our Guard and Reserve have been deployed time and time again. Many of them have had 3, 4, 5 deployments. Our active component is drawn down, and the federal government, the Department of Defense, is relying on our reserve component much more. So with that, I would like to turn it over to the next person. Thank you.
Give it a try again. Thank you so much. And so Senate File 165 is a bill that currently active duty military do not need a gun safety certificate recognized in their training. However, just in the law, if you're a returning veteran after 20 years of service, you would have to get that gun safety certificate. It's the same one that the 12-year-olds get. Certainly, our returning military, those who are leaving service and our veterans, should be treated on par with active duty. Part of this is to also give the commissioner some authority to make sure that, and we'll also work with them to implement the bill as well. So it's a small bill, but a constituent of mine contacted me after all his time of training, gun safety, utilization of guns. He came back to Minnesota, and once again, just like with these other bills, once again, they come to Minnesota and they get a cold shoulder. So it is important for us to recognize their skills and their values and what they bring to Minnesota. And again, and just saluting their service, that when they come back as a veteran, not just active duty, that they are exempted from the gun safety, from the gun certificate. So a very short, simple bill. And by the way, it doesn't cost any money to do this. So thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jason Quick, and I am the Minnesota State Director for Concerned Veterans for America. We are a national organization that advocates for the freedoms and the liberties that our veterans and active duty service members have fought to protect. I want to thank you all for being here today and thank the folks behind me for having me. As a veteran and a Minnesotan, I realize the importance of being involved in this process, and I'm proud to advocate for policies that improve the lives of veterans and, like I said, preserve those freedoms and the liberties that we fought for. After seeing and tracking many of the negative issues that veterans have faced here in Minnesota and across the country, it's a good thing to see lawmakers step up with good common sense ideas, and I believe that what is good for veterans will ultimately be good for Minnesotans, for the economy, and for our great state. I'm going to keep my remarks short today, and I'd like to yield back. Thank you.
Again, thank you for coming. If there's any questions?
I do have one. Senator Gazelka, you mentioned 23 million, Mr. Vice Chair. Is that just your proposal, or is that the collecting?
That's just my proposal. One of them was free.
One of them is, any idea what the total is for all of these proposals?
You know,
I can get you the fiscal note on my bill. I just can't remember the numbers off the top of my head. I definitely can.
okay.